Thanks for coming on this rainy morning. Really appreciate your presence. Today was a very special day. We held the first ever ceremony here on Parliament Hill. I'm really proud of that. One of my constituents was walking out this morning. This is a Cree traditional ceremony where baby walks their first steps on earth, welcomed by their family, by their community. I was really proud that so many people came this morning to share this special moment. I'm sure if you were watching, it is quite a joyful moment for a baby to take those first steps. So it was really an honor to be able to bring that into this space and to showcase that culture is alive. Culture is part of who we are. This ceremony is specific to the James Bay Cree. Some other Cree nations do it. Other nations actually have their own ceremonial process. We are all distinct and different nations, although we are all First Peoples in this country. But we're trying to showcase that, a lot of decision making, a lot of parenting, a lot of process in bringing new life is also a responsibility to carry these traditions and to be able to share them. That's why many of the decisions that we're making at Indigenous Canada are really reflecting that. We want to be sure that when we're looking at child and family services, when we're doing long-term reform, we're trying to capture the components of what ceremony means and what being an Indigenous person means is part of our decision making. So this is a special moment for me to share. I'm really pleased that you were able to attend. And I have allergies, I'm not crying.
We'll do one question, one follow-up.
I guess I was talking to you over here about the significance. What's the significance? I know these ceremonies happen, but what's the significance of having it on?
There are many ceremonies that parents will do. Usually 9-month ceremony, birth ceremony, walking out ceremony. When your child is around 7 or 8, they'll have a first kill, a snowshoe ceremony. There are so many responsibilities that you carry as a parent to care for your children. And it's really important that we're creating space and acknowledging that. This is part of reconciliation. This is part of acknowledging that who we are as First Nations is reflected in how we raise children. I really wanted to show that this is something that is alive, that is growing, that is a part of who we are, part of our responsibility. And I really wanted to be sure that it is understood in our decision making, in the files that we have at Indigenous Services Canada, this is what we're creating space for. And, I'm going to share specifically this morning about 2 files that are very important to me. Long-term reform and child and family services. You see how much of ceremony being an integral part of how families come together. That's why when we're making decisions and supporting communities to determine for themselves what happens to children in their most vulnerable time, that you're also protecting who they are, protecting their identity, protecting their culture. I'm very supportive of this regional approach. As you can see, things can be very specific to a First Nation. That's why we have to create that pathway and create that space for communities to be able to make decisions for their kids in community, not just for children, but for families and community members to work together. The other part is really Jordan's principle. There's parts of Jordan's principle that are, yes, medical services, support services, but there's Indigenous ways of healing. There's land-based programs that are connected to that, and that offers healing in a way that is very profound. It's not only physical and emotional, but it's that spiritual component that you want to speak to as well.
And I wanted to ask you about something else that came up at the Economic Reconciliation Conference yesterday. That the National Chief of the Defense seems to indicate that the First Nations Clean Water Act is going to be used this month. Is that correct?
We heard the PM say in spring, we've got a few days to go, but I'm encouraged about the direction that things are taking. As you can see, things are always changing in Parliament. We had some big decisions that were made yesterday, so Canadians gave us a mandate to lead. It was very clear. I'm happy and excited to welcome my 2 new colleagues and the return of Tatiana, but we will continue working together on the files that are on the table.
I want to ask, why was it important for you specifically to have the ceremony on the Hill this morning and to open it up to someone like this?
It's a learning opportunity. It's a learning opportunity. One of the things that I've encountered as an Indigenous minister is often we're speaking about culture and it's a concept. So seeing so many of my ministerial colleagues come out, some MPs, for them to also learn about what it means to be First Nations in Canada. I think that's part of the file, that's part of the work that we have to do. And like I said earlier, this is really a living part of who we are. This is not an ancient tradition. This is an active part of how we raise our kids. So I wanted to be able to share that, to showcase that we have strength in this process, and really, also give that opportunity for MPs and ministers to learn about what it means.
Can you share a little bit about the young family or who was in the ceremony?
Sure. Angela and her daughter Kamisha and Marcus, the parents. Angela is the grandmother. Kamisha and Marcus. Kamisha is from the community of Waskaganish. Marcus is from the community of Sassibi. They're all from my riding, and Nora is one of my youngest constituents celebrating today. I've known Angela for a long time. Part of her family also comes from my community. Cree Nation, although we are a large nation, is very closely related. So it's a pleasure for them to come here and participate. This was really a shout out that I did on Facebook, and I was like, do you have a baby that is walking out? And they bravely accepted. It was such a special teaching moment, not only for the people that were involved in the process, but also for my staff, my department, public servants seeing and participating and help setting up this process. It was a huge learning experience for them.
I don't want to take it for a question, but what do you mean by learning?
But you will nonetheless. Sorry, repeat it.
What do you mean by learning experience? Like, what was it about?
I'll give the best example where I had said, well, we need to have a drum. There was a lot of discussion on what is the drum? A powwow drum. Normally this type of ceremony, it's a hand drum. We anticipated having one drum. In the end, we had 3 people come out and really share that space and be able to offer opportunity. And it was inclusive. It was inclusive of staff contributing, being able to give their vision. A lot of learning. I think all of my staff were wondering about details. It's a totally different concept to hold a ceremony instead of having a political event. And I'm really proud of them, the work that they did, and I'm very thankful that Angela was able to come forward with Kamisha, Marcus, and Honora to be willing to do this and share.
Can you tell us anything about the teepee? I know that teepees have our own designs, our own, and I was wondering who's the...
Oh, okay. I'm actually not sure. This is a rental. We usually work with this group, I'm told. This is more of a Western-style teepee. In my nation, sometimes we use a teepee, sometimes we use a prospector's tent, so it really depends. In this case, this is what we had available. Normally, in a ceremony, the family will do a lot of preparation. Everything from going to cut the poles, preparing the poles, sewing the outfits, preparing all of the garments that are worn, bringing the bows. There's a lot of work that's put in this process because families are preparing their child for this. In this case, we got to share in that preparation with Indigenous Services Canada. It was a huge learning experience for them, but they were able to come and really take the space and showcase, what it means to be to be Cree, and I'm really proud.
And then on a second question.
Are you okay? Yeah, you're so cold. You don't have to do this second. You can warm up.
We now have a Liberal majority government. How is it going to be impacting certain files related to Indigenous services? I think there's been some rumors and concerns that there's going to be some essential aspects of the previous water bill that are being taken out related to source water. How is that going to impact previous pieces of legislation that are really important to Indigenous people, but also future legislation?
I think, there is a majority government today. What does that mean exactly? I'm learning too. I'm also a new MP. It's my first time being a minister. I think that my new colleagues are going to be very supportive. I had the opportunity to speak to Dr. Danielle Martin about, components of Jordan's principle and health and mental health and healing and what does that mean. And, what we're trying to do with legislation, I think for me it's really important to hear from community. We have very complicated legislation because, Indigenous rights are a collective right, but we also have very distinct nations that are affected by legislation differently. What's important to me as a minister is finding that pathway so that we're able to find a decision that everybody is agreeable to. That can be really challenging. I have a lot of faith in communities that they'll be able to work with me and get that done. You might need to go warm up.
Yes, I'm going to.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Okay, Agda, thank you, everybody. I have to go to caucus. See you later. Thanks for joining. Really appreciate that.
No, it was a nice morning. Thanks for.
You're welcome. You're welcome.